Welcome to the Bumblecast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Yep, I'm back. It happened again. I just keep being here.
Kyle is back. Tell a friend.
I guess someone's got to read these thing questions. These words being put in my mouth, man, this is dangerous. I'm gonna be like, if someone wanted to blackmail me, they would have like years worth of content to do so. Except, no, it's fine because I wouldn't care. I'd be like, yeah, I said that. What are you going to do about it?
Dear Bumblecast, what is your social security numbers and your banking account login info? Well...
Dear Bumblecast, how do you type with boxing gloves on your heads?
All right, Kyle, cut the crap. Let's get to the Q&A.
All right, fine. We will answer these questions from our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/Bumblecast, Ko-fi.com/Bumblecast, or our YouTube members. We might as well do that. Let's do that right now. Starting off with this one from Mixmogs. Because you could never give your characters too much trauma, if you were to randomly give Surge and Kit a phobia completely unrelated to anything that's happened to them, as in, don't just say they're scared of needles in hospitals because of Starline trauma, unless you just want to. What am I actually going to do to stop you? You already got my money. What would it be? Personally, I'd make Surge arachnophobic, because the idea of the living bug zapper needing Kit to kill her bugs... Actually, they're arachnids. Shut up, nerd. Go hug someone. For her is hilarious to me. And Kit is scared of clowns because he'd probably black out in a fit of violence on one getting close, and Surge would abuse that for fun.
I know you're going for the joke answer, but I'm going to be a fuddy-duddy and give you a legit answer.
Oh, man.
And say that when constructing a character, if you're going to give them a phobia, an actual crippling fear of something, it should be part of the character construction.
Yeah.
If you're throwing a trait onto them just for random, that doesn't serve any purpose. It's just a bit of trivia, and it doesn't do anything. Not for the character, not for the narrative, not for the reader. There's no engagement. It's more of a gag, I guess, which, in the right circumstances, sure, that's fine. That could be fun. But if I were to go that route, I would want there to be a legitimate reason for them to have that deep concern. And it doesn't have to be intrinsically tied to their backstory. Like, well, I almost gave an example here of myself because I really do not like the thought of the open ocean, just the endless blue abyss. But I also had a lot of trouble learning how to swim and have a deep fear of drowning. So I guess that is connected. I just discovered something about my own backstory.
Oh no. Ian's supervillain turn continues.
I'll blow up the ocean.
Ian is the worst pirate.
Arr, I never set out to sea. I just shake me fist out of the waves. If there's going to be a character trait, it needs to have a little bit of thought put to it. Plus, if Surge was arachnophobic, would that technically make her racist?
What?
I mean, if Charmy's a bee, surely there's a spider out there somewhere. I'm sure it's perfectly fine, people.
Okay, I see what you're doing here. I see what this is about.
Kit being afraid of clowns just makes me think of the episode of Animaniacs where Wacko is shown to be afraid of clowns, and that instantly gets a chuckle out of me.
Kit is afraid of Belle. Maybe that would explain it. There we go. Yep.
Surge, you don't understand. She has no ring. She has no strings to hold her down, to make her laugh or make her frown.
Oh boy. There's a spider person on the poster in Adventure 1, but I mean they're vaguely a spider. Like, I don't know how they're really supposed to be a spider, but
yeah, that I feel like is a little more fan extrapolation than anything else.
I mean, supposedly, according to the original artist, they actually are supposed to be some sort of spider character, but...
Really? All right.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, well. Here's a question from Noni. Hypothetically, if Starline is Sam Becketting all over the multiverse, who is their Admiral Al Calavici during their travels?
Oh, goodness. Is it like docked into his glove so he's yelling at it and slapping at it? I know that's not exactly what Sam had, but goodness. We haven't ever considered Starline's traveling companion.
No, we just assumed he was on this train all alone.
Maybe that's what happened to Tribot after all this time.
Oh no, not Tribot. But I guess it would make some sense. That would explain why Tribot's never around.
She thinks that his isekaiing is by accident and that she's just trying to get Eggman's subordinate back to him. Okay, I've totally figured it out. If you jump off this cliff, the stars should align. Are you sure? Reasonably.
Yeah. I like it. All right, here's one from Pit Viper. Dear Mr. Flynn, what's your opinion on Jennika from the TMNT IDW comic? I know you wrote for the character a bit in the Michelangelo mini, so I was wondering if you had any unique insight on her.
I'm going to say unique. Circa the Michelangelo story, I felt like it was kind of hard to pin down what her character was supposed to be. I felt like it was a little ill-defined. Like the few times that she had really been touched upon, different writers had different ideas on what they wanted to do with her, and she was such a minor character that it had never actually been fleshed out a ton. So for what it's worth, my approach was that she had been Foot Clan, saw what it was really, and saw the potential of what it could become under Master Splinter, so she kept with it. She was happy to serve as his Junin and see a brighter tomorrow for the Foot. She was no leader. She was no, that she wasn't like devoted 100% to Splinter, but she thought that he could lead and do things better. So she wasn't going to question it necessarily. Where she's gone from there is, man, I've fallen so far behind my turtle books. I know she's a turtle now, but I would have to do a lot of reading and research to have a more informed opinion where she is now.
Was she not a turtle? Like what?
No, she was human.
Oh, all right. Well, mutation.
And she needed an emergency transfusion, and only the turtles were available. And that mutant blood has a certain effect on people.
Yeah, true.
A person specifically.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense why I'm seeing different characters when I look her up. They're not different characters. It's the same character, just, yeah. Anyway, good to know. Interesting. All right. Here's one from Relaxed Hoodie. You guys into figure or statue collecting? I think first 4 figures Sonic statues look fantastic. And I know they have a Skies of Arcadia statue, and they have the character Akia for you, Ian.
I know.
It's too expensive, and it takes up too much space.
Even if I could afford either Vice or Aka, it would be, I have nowhere to put them. Like, they're enormous. I have nowhere for them. That and all the Vice statues are sold out. I've gone looking. I have had the wild hair every now and again going, you know what? I'm going to do something nice for me and not look at the price tag. Where are you, Vice? And it's like, nope, he is gone. So everyone who has your Vice and Aka statues, treasure them for my sake.
Treasure them because I'm going to hunt you down and kill you to get them. Is that what you're saying?
Right now, I've got a... No, of course not.
Mm-hmm.
Not while we're being recorded.
No.
It can be used in court. I've got a pretty decent Sonic collection, a few other smattering of other things. It's just I don't have the space to display everything. I have a large amount that's been stored away, and honestly, I could stand to store more. So I need to cut this habit. But they keep making stuff, Kyle. They finally made a Tornado. They made the Eggmobile with all the things that can attach to it. How can I say no? I've wanted this since I was 8.
Yeah, I know. That's how they get you, Ian. That's how they get you. They prey upon your nostalgia.
Nostalgia, it's devotion.
It's both. Come on, don't lie. It's both. I'm I'm being silly, obviously, but oh man, Tangle and Whisper statues though, that would be cool. Oh well, no, it's too expensive and it takes up too much space for me, so I don't really do that. I have some like toys, but I don't do full-on figures really, and it's just kind of like, it's too much, man. It's too much. Here's a question from Rock-A-Million. Which comic run on Sonic have you enjoyed working on the most, and why? Archie Sonic Reboot, or IDW Sonic?
I don't know if I would say one more than the other. I mean, the first run was the dream come true. You know, I grew up reading the book, and I get to add to the vast tapestry that was part of my formative years. I got to take all these characters and settings and take them on their next step, and that's special. That being said, with the reboot, it was kind of fun to go, okay, we have all these ideas and themes and feelings that we grew up with. Now we can do something a little more cohesive, a little more on brand. And that was an interesting challenge and kind of refreshing in a way, to be able to start from the bottom and build something up. And then with the current IDW run, the fact that it is so much closer tied to the main material is, I hesitate to say legitimizing, but it isn't like you're dancing around the corners of the franchise anymore. There isn't a certain degree of, you know, how much of the canon is canon and how much is our own thing. Where do we fit? It's like, no, this is part of modern Sonic, and we are adding to that greater narrative. And that's neat, you know?
Yeah, so that's really cool.
They all have something special to them, and I would not trade out any of them. If the shiny demon appeared on the road and was like, I will grant you anything, but you must lose this one life experience, I'd be like, get out of here, man. I'll have to sing a tribute to you.
Okay. Well, just get some good old rocket sauce. Here's a question from Scourge Time. Hey guys, in Scourge Lockdown, Scourge says, I've been beaten into the floor 10 times too many. But how long was he in jail before Fiona showed up? It was 4 years after his last appearance in 197, so would that make it 4 months in Sonic's universe?
I wouldn't really put too hard a time on it because we couldn't show a progression of time. And regardless, the line was more to imply that Scourge was just getting like constantly stomped on. Like whether that was spread out over 4 months or 4 minutes, he was on the receiving end of a lot of brutality.
Loser Hedgehog gets beaten up 50 times a day. He deserves it. All right, here's a question from Scurvy Pirate Dog. As we saw in last year's annual, Blaze had spent most of her time fighting pirates. So, just for fun, Blaze is using her emeralds to travel dimensions, but ends up falling into the pirate dimension in Sonic Prime. How does she react to all the pirate versions of her friends, including the pirate Captain Knuckles the Dread?
She would be very taken aback. Her experience with multidimensional travel has been, you know, this is my house, now I'm going to your house. They're very different. To come to a world where it's people that she knows, but they are very different than what she knows, would be not something she was prepared for. I think eventually, when she realized that most of them are still good people,
yeah,
she'd kind of acclimatize to, oh, these aren't marauding robot pirates, they're goofballs. Okay, I can work with this. But there would definitely be some tension there initially.
Oh no. Would she beat them up? I mean, got to put them in their place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she could do it easily.
Swap the decks with them.
Yeah, easily. I mean, she could do that with normal versions of them, to be fair. Pretty much. Here's one from Steph Cube. Why do comic book artists draw hearts every time Amy uses her hammer? Is it something only the reader can see, or can the characters see them too? And if someone other than Amy were to use the hammer, would the shapes change to suit the person who is using it? Maybe star or diamond shapes? And if Rouge used it, would hearts come out too? I mean, she is also closely related to that symbol.
For my part, it's just a direction to showcase Amy's heart theme. Like, I'm not fond of her generating little floaty hearts like she does in some game material, but I do like the idea of just having that aesthetic appear subtly as she does her stuff. I just think it's a neat visual, and it hasn't been flagged as far as I'm aware, so I guess Sega likes it too. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily like a character trait or meant to be any kind of deeper plot element. It's just Amy's heart themed. And when she hits things, the impact flash has kind of a heart shape to it. And that's neat to look at.
Well, it actually happens in some of the games too, doesn't it? Like SA1, swing it and like, there's hearts. There's like a heart effect.
It varies from game to game and how it's interpreted and represented. So
yeah, but at least it is in the games, so it's not like it's just coming out of nowhere. It's not just the artists doing weird stuff just on their own.
But I don't want to equate it to like an actual game mechanic or a canonical representation of energy flow in the universe. It's just, it's a fun visual that these cartoon characters do.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. And we got one more question before we take a break from Stephen A. Let's talk about 90s bad guys. Can you both name 5 of your favorite 90s bad guys from fiction and tell us why you like them? I know Ian is a guy who enjoys Gul Dukat for being the slimiest, smoothest scum sucker in all of Star Trek. Sorry for making you say that out loud, Kyle. Don't worry, Stephen. It's fine. I've said way worse. And I have zero doubts that the Clown Prince of Crime is in there too. But I'm just wondering who else fits the whole, this is a bad guy I love to watch for you both. I'm imagining that Kyle probably enjoys Xanatos from Gargoyles and possibly the evil Dr. Forrester and TV's Frank in terms of villains, especially in the MST3K movie.
Well, you already hit a lot of the high points. I mean, as you said, Gul Dukat just commands every scene that he's in.
Yeah.
Xanatos, I mean, is kind of like the quintessential 90s villain.
Yes, yeah, he's great.
Hamill's Joker for sure, because the way Hamill just finds that madness, that delightful, unsettling madness, has kind of set the standard. There have been other interpretations that are solid, to be sure, but just I feel like he's the quintessential Joker that all others get compared against.
Kind of like Conroy's Batman.
But also along that line, their interpretation of Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
That to take someone who I know I've said this on the show in the past, but I remember I had a miniseries of where Tim Drake is first becoming Robin, and Mr. Freeze gets killed off by Joker in a panel, and nobody bats an eye because he was a nobody villain. He was just a waste of space, and then the cartoon reinvigorated him into something far more compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like his last episode in Batman Beyond was the perfect send-off, whereas everything is crashing down on his sick-looking future costume. And Terry's like, the whole place is coming down. You gotta get out of here. And Freeze says, believe me, you're the only one who cares. And it's like, you are breaking my heart, dude. Like, you just murdered somebody 5 minutes ago, and I'm still sad for you. So, I mean, they did a lot of good stuff with that show, but I think Freeze is the standout, arguably, amongst all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Kagato from Tenchi Muyo, I have made it no secret how influential that incarnation has been. Not universes. That was Blandest Dishwater. I mean Muyo's. All the weird, unexplained powers, the sheer amount of swagger and confidence, the voice delivery, everything about him. Just super cool, and I love the way he went out. Just so much class. And gonna say the version of Apocalypse from the 90s X-Men cartoon.
Yeah.
full on canned ham. Not even that effective, I don't think, but the delivery of the lines, just absolute grandiose. He sees himself as a god and he knows it and he loves it. Like there's some line somewhere it's like, are you some kind of mutant? He's like, I am as far beyond them as they are beyond you. And it's like, oh, that's such a cool line.
Yeah, that is fun.
Because Age of Apocalypse was also around the 90s, wasn't it? Because that was a very, very 90s event.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And that was the best he ever was. He never reached that peak. Again, although the what was that story arc called? The one where they're dealing with Arako and the other mutants and the interdimensional stuff. The whatchamacallit. Anyway, the one where we find out that he had a wife and kids. That was really good. Primarily because the art was amazing. But now we're into the 2020s, so that doesn't really count.
No. Now you're getting too far. Jeez. I mean, I like the fact that Stephen brought up Dr. Forrester and TV's Frank. I mean, thank you for that. I appreciate that. They are a lot of fun. Yeah, I do also. I think I might enjoy Pearl Forrester a little more, but that may just be because my first exposure to MST3K was the sci-fi era. So I don't know, but I mean, he is Dr. Forrester is a very fun character, and TV's Frank makes a good foil for him. So it kind of sucks that Frank isn't in the movie, so Forrester's just kind of off on his own, and it's kind of like, well, there's someone missing here. So yeah, and I think you hit most of the high points. Otherwise, for 90s villains, that's about all I can. It's about all I can think of. Those are some of the best villains from the 90s for sure.
I guess I should bring up, Sniveling Robotnik from SatAM.
Oh yeah, okay,
big deal too, especially for this show.
I mean, we've talked a lot about various versions of Eggman and Robotnik before, so it's like kind of a given. But still, I mean, I still do love me some Adventures of Robotnik, though. Just the absolute lunacy. And clearly they're having way too much fun. Yeah. Good stuff all around. On that note, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more on the Bumblecast. We're back. We got a question from Superior Pizza. I know you're tired of people asking about Tails Tube's recent statements, but this question should be different enough from the others. Tails during his livestream never actually brings up alternate dimensions or parallel timelines when referring to the endless possibilities. However, he does state that in the possibility of space, they are endless. So this got me thinking. Is he referring to a quilted multiverse? A quilted multiverse refers to a universe infinite in size, so a parallel Earth or Earths are guaranteed to exist somewhere within the same dimension, as opposed to a different dimension entirely. This would align with what was stated prior about there only being a handful of dimensions like Blaze's world and the imaginary realm.
The possibilities are endless, so sure, that could be one of those possibilities.
Could be. You don't know. You'll never know. No one will ever know. You could try, but you will never know. Here's one from Thievius. Question for both Ian and Kyle. Would you rather always be on the cusp of a sneeze that'll never come out or have an itch you can never scratch?
I would join Starline on this isekai adventures to escape either of those.
I was gonna say, can I go with the neither option? Or will it persist even after death?
Oh God! To die, to sleep, perchance to sneeze. I'm almost inclined to say the itch, because even if you can't resolve it, you can rub your back against various sharp objects and do something about it. Sneezing, you'd be caught in mid-sentence. You would be perpetually making that kind of upturned nose thing, and I don't know. Somehow that's marginally worse.
Yeah. I don't know if I can live with either of these. Oh. I have enough problems with itches I can't scratch as it is. I don't need any more. Please, no. All right. And we got a question from Titik. I've recently become aware of the Penguin Young Readers books, Sonic and the Tales of Deception and Sonic and the Tales of Terror. I find the stories in there to be quite interesting for a few reasons, such as Sonic dealing with a zombie outbreak before the metal virus, a form of roboticization using the term robotizing, a story where Shadow actually smiles, and a tale that includes Professor Pickle, the return of the Werehog, and Amy Rose using and controlling dark Gaia energy without it corrupting her. Oh, that sounds awesome. How familiar are you with these books, and seeing as Tales of Terror was released after IDW began, would these stories be considered canon to the current continuity or off the table for now? I'm curious if they're even on Sega's radar or not lore-wise.
I'm not super familiar with them myself, and they've never come up in conversation when we are talking lore material, so I'm reasonably certain that they're just for funsies and are not part of the mix. But that's still worth bringing up and discussing with the bosses and seeing where they lie.
Oh, Amy Rose. Amy using dark Gaia energy. That'd be sweet. Here's one from Anonymous. Hello, Ian. I know you get asked a lot of Whisper cross-tangle questions, but, however, I was just wondering, do you ever feel forced to try and make them a couple? I remember a while back on the Valentine's Day podcast during the last question, you brought up Whisper and Tangle and said, can't they just not exist? I agree that it's annoying that some people only see friendships on a shallow surface level, or they have to automatically hook up. I like the friendship, and I don't really see a point in fixing something that isn't broken.
When they were starting out, there was a certain degree of pressure there, and that did cause some consternation on my end. It's like, let them be friends first. Let them have an arc, and maybe there are other directions that they could go in. Because there were plenty of folks championing, Sonic and Tangle and Silver and Whisper, and you know how shipping goes. There's a fleet. There's a boat for everybody. But as things have progressed, as characters have interacted and gone through various trials together, now I'm more inclined to say, yeah, if we were allowed to go one step further, it makes enough sense to me. They have earned that companionship. They have taken that journey. I can see that being the next step. And if not, if they are perpetually just friends, that works too. There is a close, mutual, understood bond between them, and that's just as valid.
Yes, friends that hold hands and maybe kiss. That's what happens with friends, right?
You want to really put that to the test there, buddy?
Well, you're 3,000 miles away, so. All right, here's one from Trigger Happy. Hello, Ian Flynn. I have a question about Sonic's World. So, Ataro Toyota said that he thinks Sonic's World is a world that can accept everything and that everything is possible in that world. So, can it accept everything? Can it accept all logical theories and etc. along with it?
Sure.
I don't accept any of this. So, I can't accept it. Sonic's World can do whatever it wants, but I don't accept it.
You're not Toyota-san, so your opinion doesn't matter.
Well, thank you for acknowledging it, that I don't matter. Finally. Finally. Can the universe accept a wolf and a lemur in love? I don't know. Twilord has a question. So how do I make a question out of telling you a full list of all the Black Arms, Arc, and Egg tech Shadow might want to inherit? Also, be really funny if Presage Eggman secretly lobbied against AI being allowed inheritance after Neometal, so Shadow's name change screwed her.
Here's the fun thing. You don't.
Oh, but Ian, if we don't have questions, what is this show?
Kyle, we will never not have questions.
You're right. I know. I've been telling you this for years, but still, I'm just saying.
Like all of our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/bumblecast, ko-fi.com/bumblecast, and our YouTube members could vanish into the ether tomorrow, and we would probably still have 10 years worth of standard Q&A to get through.
Only 10 years?
Being conservative.
Yeah, and that's just from Twitter. That's not counting the YouTube comments and everywhere else. That's not counting the hundreds of emails in our inbox. Oh, sorry, folks. We're popular, I guess.
We're doing the best we can.
Fair Dragon 5 has a question. What was the approval process like for clairvoyance, given that she's a psychic and those haven't been explored much in Sonic? Just how rare are espers like Claire and Silver in Sonic's world, and is there a chance we'll see more of them in the future with other psychic powers?
I think Claire was kind of a special case because all the Diamond Cutters were built to be dead. Like, they were pure backstory characters, so I think that gave them a little bit of leeway. She started off as a praying mantis, but that got flagged because they're not particularly fond of too many bugs showing up, Jewel being the exception that proves the rule. And I think we went through a few options, and Evan Stanley had the decent Howler Monkey design, and that's the one Sega settled on. As for espers, I imagine that they're super rare. Like, very, 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 very rare. Like, maybe Silver is the one and only we're going to see active, at least for a while.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, makes sense. Here's one from Wildcard717. You had the Sonar and her group actually be double agents for the Eggman Empire. What tips do you have for writing double agent characters? Like how to set up the double agent, how you want to reveal them to the reader, how you want to reveal them to the characters, consequences, etc.
It depends on what that double agent's going to do. Like in the case of the Sonar's team, they were meant to kind of act for a while. So their nature as double agents had to be that they could maintain their cover story. And for them to remain sympathetic, you had to understand why they were doing it. You don't have to agree with it, but the logic for why they would be double agents in that way would have to make sense so that there isn't some logical gap in their motivations that would undercut them in the long term. Whereas someone like Rouge, who is a spy and double agent for nigh upon anybody, that's part of her character, and you understand that any interaction she has might have an ulterior motive to it. And with that, you have to make sure that you are careful in her presentation because you don't want her to outright lie in a sloppy way. Everything she has to say has to be towards her ultimate goal, but doesn't immediately tip her hand. And that I find is probably far more difficult to manage. With your double agent character, are they going to continue to appear? Or is the reveal the point of no return in your narrative? Like when they make their play, are they fully outed? And now everything is the fallout of their actions? Do the protagonists know that they're the double agent, or do they remain secretive? Like once you reveal to the reader who this double agent is there this lingering sense of tension because they know there's a danger in the party, but the party does not? There's so many applications to be had here. It's hard to say, oh, this is what you do with it. For any kind of blanket answer, I guess it's how are you utilizing the character in the greater narrative? And once you start at that level, then you can begin to pick apart the details of how they would be utilized.
Mm-hmm. That makes some sense. All right. Here's a question from Windstar Osprey. In the fourth and final issue of Tangle and Whisper's miniseries, right after Tangle plays the holo video of the other Diamond Cutters for Mimic, there's a panel where the octopus is holding up his hands and just staring at them silently. Fans have interpreted this as Mimic regretting his actions, with common headcanons for his continued evil being him realizing that he's past the point of no return, or that he had been captured by an enemy of the team during a previous mission and turned into a sleeper agent via brainwashing. And this was original, less despicable, not good, never good, self-breaking through for a brief moment. If possible, could you tell us what that pause really was about?
It was intentionally left vague because I wanted folks to wonder, and that's specifically for Mimic. Like, did he have a moment of regret? Did he have a moment of realization of just what he had lost? Was he just kind of thinking about, well, had to be done, no regrets? I wanted it to be unclear so that folks would still feel uneasy around him. Because if and when he showed up again, there would be that lingering question of, well, is he still going to be a murderous jerk, or is there a chance he could turn around? I want that lingering misgiving, because that's what Mimic is supposed to be. He's supposed to be that kind of boogeyman, that he's always kind of like in the back of your mind, making you go, well, what is he going to do now? What's his next move? You don't know. He's a tricksy octopus. Tricksy, like a hobbit's. And he's meant to be unnerving. So I will not validate or invalidate any particular interpretation of that scene, because you're meant to be left guessing.
Maybe he was just checking his hands for blood.
Maybe.
We have one last question. It's from Zetamax. Hey guys, I have a what if for you. Imagine an alternate timeline where Gerald discovered a different race of alien life forms and created Shadow using Wisp DNA instead of Black Arms. How do you think this would affect the rest of the series? How does first meeting with Sonic go?
I'm torn. On the one hand, it would be hilarious if he was just this brightly colored, incredibly cheerful, but still dedicated counter Sonic type character.
Yeah.
On the other hand, still brightly colorful, but with the current characterization.
But it's just that he's the same. I mean,
like, he looks like a melted box of crayons, but he's still very severe.
That seems like what they were kind of pushing Silver as first, very, very early on. Like, they tried to make him kind of edgy-ish, Silver, but I don't know how well it really hit, but it's sparkly.
I'm deep and tortured. I have an edge to me. Sure you do, kid. Sure you do.
And then he meets Shadow and he's like, well, I'm not like that guy. I guess I'm not
I have
edgy.
Angst. You have a kick to the back of the head.
It's no use. It's really no use.
Now, the idea of a single individual having Wisp powers on command would be pretty nifty. But
I mean, Whisper's already pretty cool. She kind of has that.
Yeah, but she has the limitation of one Wisp at a time, and it has to be in this very particular mechanical construct, and it's those 5 that she has a deep rapport with.
Yes.
If we're talking Wisp Shadow, Waddle, Shishp,
Wispy.
Wispy, there we go. That would be potentially the entire Technicolor rainbow of doom.
It's
at his disposal.
It's all colors all the time.
Rings, all colors. I don't know. It would be neat.
Maybe they
see that kind of power set.
Maybe they have the announcer voice all the time. The colors announcer. That's their normal voice.
Doctor, why do I hear voices every time I use my powers?
I like that. I like that being canonical, like the announcer actually being a thing. I don't know. Just be funny. Just be funny. All right. Well, I think that's enough. We've had enough Bumblecast for today.
Before we go, though, we need to give a big thank you to all our patrons over patreon.com/bumblecast, ko-fi.com/bumblecast, and our YouTube members. Big thank you to Daniel H., Jennifer R., James K., John B., Robotnik, Homesab, Cybercat, Samuel P., Torchbound, Mike B., Andrew D., Saluchacat, Dave M., Noni, J. Frost, Coupling Crew 128, Duiz Dizdin, Hero of Light 13, Professor Scruffynet, Chris A., Sony, Scurvy Pirate Hog, John M., Triforce Riku, Sonic, Ben Wolfsbane, Arc Fighter, Jib, Lisa M., Lee H.K., Twilord, Chaos Sonic 1, Stardust Spectre, Chevelle, Inkfinks, Tick Tick, Mixicers 17, Axis, Starlight Seg, Z Broadcast, Jonathan D, Cameron H, Jolene B, The Disgayan, Joshua S, The Name is X, Lair Stain, Godzilla, Nondal, Alex KR, Ava Arctic, Dove, Just a Mountain Soul, Quaggle Gaggle, Yuma221, Jay the Redneck, Jennifer H, Justin S, Dadler the Dalek, Angela V, Sonic Legacy, Alphamon or Yukin, Jack the Animator, Tetsuya the Wise, Pedantic Cad, Hannah W, Venus, Les, Daniel B, Red the Supernamic, Wildcard 717, Chad, Dominic the Raccoon, Of the Stars, Indabin and Tails, Ginzel, Wheelie Doe, Sandra BH, Sammy S, Puppy the Scholar, Jerusalem, Miles the Prower, Navarre, Exadel, Agent Kaz, For Sonic Fan, Rhythm and Tempo, Illegal Chow Fights, Pig Dan 20, Preston M, The Marble Gardener, Noah M, E200 Paragon, Thievius, Ozjam, Shimmy M, Kojiro Highwind, Awesome Cakester, Curly Quills, Supersonic Van, Redry, Chase L, Morless, Smiley 21, Sonic 84, Philip is Cold, Sterling, Sonic, Rocco D, Congo, Windskull, Supernova, Superior Pizza, Sonic Patch, Ty H, Thickoff, Omega Man 21, Planet Breezy, and Zephyr Unity, Jason G, Nils, Subliminal, Gino the Puppet, Miggy Sawdust, Amazing, Miss Nizumi, SB, My Fish Eats Rocks, The ID Card, Jonathan F, Hip Kid Brick, Levi C, Vlad, Samith S, Dead Air, Lemur Chicken, Sheen, Adrian W, Knuckles Sandwich 87, Luke R, Michael P, Fang, M Bluet, Miles, Full Prower, Cool Christy 1, Ashter, Alejandro 333777, Loose, Noah I, Lacey M, Lucky Lychee, Trocon H, Blahaj Blast, The Phantomist, Spiral, Native Nerd 27, Salato 02, Ultra Guy, William M, Crowbo, Raccoon Shinobi, Normal Person, Marcy H, Caswell, Mr. Murderbird, The Giant Murdering Bird, Noob 600, Silver Moon 2K1, Pit Viper, Icy Wolf, North Salt 15, Relaxed Hoodie, Sonic Mania 2099, Hedronus, Paley, All Peachy, Jihan S, Angel Fox Kitsune, Snowpair, Chunka S.A., Gideon W., Boy King Elias, The Man of Multimedia, Foofy 93, Mrs. Nippy, Florian, Call Me Ryan, Onion Girl, Candy B, Cat Van Brian, Jamal S, Wheels 2882 Hedgehog, Metamode, Frost the Hobbidon, Danny the Light, Butter Noodles, Miles Prower D, Al Technopada, True Cosmic Digilab 79, Hero Squad, Kaizen MN, Woods, Ben R, Blue Cube, Damien That Hedge, Daxolotl, Green Hill Zone 900, Hertz 13, Mike from Iowa, Mobius, Scourge Time, Steph Cube, Veer Dragon 5, and Zetabax.
Thank you all so much for your unending support. I mean, this list continues to grow, and it is glorious, and thank you.
Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we will see you next time on the Bumblecast.
You can't tell me what to do.
Well, I can. Whether or not you listen is entirely up to you.
Barbecue. Heck yeah. I like barbecue. Ooh. Sauce. Sauce? You got a sauce on that? Oh, getting lost in the sauce. Ooh. Ooh. Barbecue.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I'm all that ass. Wait, no, I take it back.
No, hold on, wait. We're cool? Oh no. What gives you that idea? If you think we're cool, your standards of coolness might be a little too low. You've been listening to the Bumblecast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. Biggity Buck Bumble. Right about now, it's time to drop with the Biggity Buck Bumble. Right about now, it's time to stop with the Biggity Buck Bumble. Wish.com Shadow. Not Shadow, but an incredible simulation.